Welcome to another episode of the Astute Bloodstock Learning Centre. This is how to read a pedigree page. When I first came into the industry a couple of years ago, I had no idea what anything on a pedigree page meant, and I was too embarrassed to ask anybody. So it took me some time to learn. So hopefully this video finds someone who's in a similar position that I was, and I can make it seem a lot more simple. So here is an example of a typical yearlings pedigree page. Now, before I begin, I'm going to show you 3 different yearling pedigree pages. If you recognize them, just make a mental note because you might have a chance of winning a prize at the end. So this is how a pedigree page is set out, with the sire or the father on the top and the mother or the dam on the bottom. And it's always like that with the grandparents, great-grandparents and great-great-grandfathers, and then the page reflects the mother's side of the pedigree. So you see flamboyant lass, flamboyance, and Vane Deb being the great-granddam or the third dam. The first thing that often jumps out on a pedigree page is this black type here, and there's 2 different types of black type, either black type or capitals, which denotes the horse is a stakes winner, and the black bold writing in title case, you can also see it here, which denotes that the horse is a stakes performer but is not a winner. So a stakes race or a black type race being a group 1, a group 2, a group 3, or a listed race, and you can see examples of all those types of races on this page. So worth noting here that not all black type is valued the same. For instance, a group 1 in Randwick is not valued the same as a group 1 in, say, in Argentina. A listed race in Melbourne is not valued the same as a listed race, say, in Tasmania. So the next thing that I want to talk about is siblings. Full siblings, half siblings, and 3/4 siblings. Full siblings, very simple, same sire, same dam. So flamboyant lass and attention are full siblings, both out of flamboyance, both by stratum. In terms of half siblings, this colt by Home Affairs, we can see has 3 half siblings on the page, that being Nitrous by Deep Field, Command Approved by Spirit of Boom, and Parent by Piero. Now, this filly, Lovebird, who's by I'm Invincible, would be considered a 3/4 sibling. Why? Because this colt is by Home Affairs, who's by I'm Invincible, and this filly is by I'm Invincible. So the rule of thumb being that any relation that's more than a half, more closely related than a half, but not a full sibling, is a 3/4 sibling. And that's probably the easiest way to remember it. Another thing that I want to talk about that can be a bit confusing on a pedigree page is just the alignment of the names. We'll go down here to the third dam, Vane Deb. She had 12 foals, 9 to race, 6 winners. She is the mother of Pasacatera, who's a stakes winner. And you can see here, if you draw the line straight down, then Dance with Deb is also out of Vane Deb, and you can go down again to the Fairest, knowing the Fairest is also out of Vane Deb. When a horse becomes indented, like you can see here with Planet Voyage and Grabini, you know that that horse is out of or descended from the horse above it. So, and you can see that there as well. Pasacatera, dam of Planet Voyage, who was a stakes winner in South Australia, and the Fairest is actually the grand dam of Grabini, so this horse actually 2 generations away, but that's just what that means. So one last thing worth noting on this pedigree page you'll see is the Danehill is mentioned twice here. Purely just means that this colt is inbred to Danehill. There's a couple of very influential 20th century stallions, including Danehill, Northern Dancer, Danzig, who a lot of yearlings, especially in this country, are inbred to. So this is a decent female family. I'm going to show you now one of the best pedigrees, I believe, in the world, one of the strongest female families. This is Too Darn Hot's pedigree. It's a very well-known sire in this country. Stands with Dali. So his mother, Dare Mi, she was a champion. He's got 2 full siblings who are stakes winners as well, being by Dubawi, as he is. And then his grand dam she was a top filly of her generation. She was joint second top filly in Europe as a 3-year-old, and then she had a number of champions as well, as you can see down the page. So this would be considered one of the strongest pedigrees in the world. And now to compare, I'm going to show you another pedigree. So this filly was bought at the English Classic sale a couple of years ago for $30,000. And it's a great example of when a filly or a strong female family can lie dormant for a couple of generations. You can see So Gorgeous and Crowning Jewel, both the dams of stakes winners. And then the Grand Dam So Much Joy, well, she was only a winner. She didn't win in town, and she didn't produce any city winners either, including this filly's dam Contract Signed, who was only placed. So that might have been a contributing factor to this filly only being sold for $30,000 as a yearling. She has won more than $1.7 million now. She's a triple time stakes winner. I think she's Group 1 placed on 2 occasions as well. So this is just a good reminder as we move on to the last pedigree, that pedigrees are merely just a guide for us to speculate, what distance a horse is going to be able to run at or be most proficient at, if they're going to be an earlier type or a later developing type, and what they're going to look like one day. Here's a colt that was sold at the Magic Millions a couple of years ago for about $80,000. This is a much fairer pedigree, you would say. He is by Extreme Choice, who's one of the best size in Australia and will stand for the most amount of money this season. But there are no stakes winners in the first 4 dams. His mother, Midnight Pearl, was a 7-time winner, yes, but she didn't win in town. She didn't win as a 2-year-old. This colt has won more than $5.5 million. And so it just shows that horses and champions can come from anywhere. So thank you for following along at home. I've shown you 3 yearling pedigrees of horses that went on to be stakes winners and be very successful on the track. Pick one and either comment it on my Instagram post or on our YouTube channel. If you're the first person to comment that horse's name, I will send you an Astute Bloodstock mug. Thanks guys, I really hope you enjoyed it.